Welcome everyone to today's webinar, GenAI in OCI Services, Observability and Management, and Autonomous Database. My name is Nikki Chen. I'm a Marketing Event Manager for the Developer Initiative here at Oracle. Today, we're excited to walk you through how Oracle uses GenAI in our two key OCI services. If you have any questions during the webinar, please drop them in the Q&A. We have also set up a Slack channel, Oracle AI ML services in our developer workspace that you can access at the QR code or the link on the screen. The channel remains open after the event for you to contact us directly whenever you have any questions. And before I pass it off to the presenters, I wanted to let you know we have some more amazing webinars just like this one coming up. You can check them out either with the QR code or the link in the chat. Today's webinar will be presented by Herman, Zubair, and Murtaza. Without further ado, I'll pass it to Herman.
So thank you for being here. I think we have a very interesting session for you today, focusing on GenAI on OCI services. We are going to cover a little bit our observability and management platform and a little bit our autonomous database. We are a couple of teams working together here in this session. We have Zubair Ansari and Murtaza Hussain from the observability and management team, and I'm Herman Viscuso from the autonomous database team. So let's get right into it. We'll have a couple of demos in the session, but we wanted to provide like high level, also high level information about what we're working on, what we work on, etc. So first of all, I need to show you this safe harbor statement because we're going to cover a lot of things, especially in the observability and management side, which are not yet available. So please bear with us. But in any case, we think it will be very interesting to you to see, where we're going, and we will be doing announcements soon about this. So first of all, we are trying to bring AI to every layer in the enterprise. We are not talking about providing AI services ourselves within, the Oracle Cloud infrastructure, but also we are bringing all the benefits of these AI services to our, embedded services, embedded cloud services. So in general, when we talk about infrastructure, we are also doing, AI powered services. When we talk about, the data platform and maybe observability and monitoring, we are also, leveraging AI there, especially GenAI, and we're going to go a little bit about that. And also when it comes to applications, when it comes to high level, we are also leveraging GenAI services like, for example, Select AI, which is something that I will cover in the end, that allows you to basically speak in a natural language to the database to basically, fetch information, and that is obviously at the higher level. But we are trying to work at every single level of the stack to leverage GenAI technology. So this is what the session is about. And I wanted to show you this because Oracle AI has, a great set of ML capabilities and services. So as I told you before, it's not only about using pre-built AI services like the ones you can see there in green in the top part, where we have specific services for anomaly detection, digital assistance, speech, language, vision, etc., etc. But it's also about enabling you to build your own machine learning-based services. So we are providing machine learning in the Oracle database itself. For example, if you are interested in using the data warehousing capabilities of Oracle Autonomous Database, you will find that there are a lot of embedded ML functionalities within the service that you can leverage for your applications, okay? So we also have, MySQL Heatwave AutoML, data labeling, data science, etc., etc. But we are also very interested in the, let's say, the next route there, which is ingest, transform, curate, and create, where we're talking about data integration, data management, data monitoring, and observability. In these cases, we think there are great advantages of using GenAI technologies specifically for this segment, and we are going to see a little bit of that today. Finally, we have our cloud infrastructure let's say, low-level services, compute, networking, storage, security, et cetera, that are also integrating deeply with ML capabilities. Okay, so let me move forward. And what are the advantages of using cloud services that are powered by GenAI capabilities? So in this case, if you have a service, an Oracle Cloud service, like, for example, we could consider autonomous database, and you combine it with OCI generative technology, you basically enable these scenarios where you can ask, create, summarize information, personalize your information, or create applications and dashboards just by using natural language. So this is very, very powerful thing. And it's not only about autonomous database, but also we will see how that is being leveraged today in the observability and management platform. So this is basically about making it easier for the customer to rely on generative technology to reduce complexity, basically. The more we add these capabilities to our Oracle cloud-based services, the easier we made life for our users, right, and for our customers. So this is the whole point about using these technologies. But of course, there are a lot of details that you need to be aware of. There are limitations of these generative services, and there are a lot of things that you need to keep in mind that we will go through them a little bit in a little bit more detail in the next slides. Okay, so let's think about the use cases that are being enabled by generative AI or GenAI. Here, I don't want to go through all of them because we have several use cases here. But as you can see, if we're talking about customers, for example, suppose that you could provide automated customer service where you don't need to rely on anything else but basically models to provide this customer service, and you could, for example, analyze, scripts of those customer service interactions in real time to basically make the right decisions, or maybe do a post call analysis of those interactions to basically get recommendations about how to improve those interactions on the next iteration. So this is a great use case, which is being enabled in customers' operations. We have similar cases in marketing, especially around content generation, right? And a lot of personalization. You can basically generate marketing content by these technologies. And sales is also another very interesting area where it's kind of similar to customers' operations in the sense that you might have an agent, dealing with doing custom sales outreach, or having a virtual sales representative. This is very, very, very interesting as a use case. But the one that I'm most interested in, especially because I'm focusing a lot on observability, right? Even though I come from the autonomous database team, is monitoring and dashboards and observability in general. Because, you can have these scenarios where you can have analysis, insights, and data presentations, maybe by using LLMs, to enable simpler interactions. Maybe you can ask to have a specific dashboard or to have a specific data point just using natural language. And if you consider the alternative, which is actually configuring things yourself, that would probably be much harder than using just this type of interactions. Then when it comes to infrastructure monitoring, deployment, and maybe also getting insights about what's going on, and maybe predictions about what will happen actually, you can use these models to reduce operational complexity and even also the required expertise to deal with all this infrastructure monitoring and deployment, etc., by leveraging GenAI technologies. And we will see a little bit of that in a few slides. So the other thing that is very interesting for monitoring and dashboards is maybe the capability of generating dashboards based on critical events or critical data points, where you can basically get a dashboard automatically generated for you based on specific things that are of importance in your interactions. Okay, so this is all I wanted to say related to this. I think that the cases that are enabling monitoring and dashboards will be much more clear once we go through the observability and management part, and I think that should be the focus of of this presentation, actually. Okay, so I will pass it back to Zubair Ansari right now, who's going to talk about GenAI observability. Zubair, it's all yours.
Thanks a lot, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I really appreciate you joining our session today. My name is Zubair Ansari. I lead product management for multiple observability and management product at Oracle OCI. So I will talk about observability and management portfolio in the beginning of my presentation, and then we'll go into our GenAI workload management functionalities, as well as some of the features that we have built within our product that uses GenAI capabilities, so that day-to-day operations and manageability of your overall infrastructure is simplified using GenAI. Right. Let me go in presentation mode. Right. As Herman said, some of the statements we'll talk about is still in development, hence the safe harbor statement. All right. So observability and management cloud services at Oracle OCI is the full stack observability services that covers all areas of telemetry, right? Trace monitoring, collecting traces, able to collect metrics, able to collect logs from your infrastructure, able to collect SQL-based monitoring, as well as collecting configurations and drift within your environment. So Oracle OCI offers all set of full stack capability when it comes to observability and management. Right? And we utilize Oracle OCI's next generation infrastructure where our services are hosted. All of these services are multi-tenant, deployed across all OCI regions globally, including government regions. And these services are built to manage, monitor your environment wherever they are. Right? This is not designed only for OCI. These are designed for on-premise observability and management, multi-cloud management like Azure, AWS, or even GCP. Right? So we have built these services keeping hybrid manageability in mind. Vast majority of our thousands of customers use these services to manage their hybrid environment. Still, vast majority of customers' infrastructure for their business sits on on-premises environment, migrating towards cloud, and we specialize in providing hybrid observability. All of these services are built grounds up on OCI Gen 2 infrastructure. It leverages OCI's infrastructure to host all of these multi-tenant services, as well as OCI telemetry platform services, where we store metrics, logs, traces, as well as SQL data at cloud scale observability, so that we don't have any issue when it comes to high ingest or able to collect data at a high volume. We have customers where we are able to ingest hundreds of terabytes per day in order to make sure that their environments are up and running. And when it comes to our cloud observability services, we have APM, application performance monitoring, metric-based anomaly detection and monitoring, which is stack monitoring. Logging analytics is the observability pillar for log management, able to get observability-related logs as well as any logs from customers' cloud infrastructure. Oracle is DB King. We offer multiple database management services like database management, operations insight for capacity planning, as well as for OS monitoring like Oracle Linux or any Linux environment. We offer OS management as well. All of these services, they sit on a common platform and they understand each other's data, so that when we apply analytics, we are able to apply analytics at the full stack observability level. Hence, our observability solutions are much more enhanced as compared to many other niche vendors, where each of these products work in isolation. AI is ingrained in our observability and management services. Right? We collect data from all infrastructure, as I mentioned, whether it is on-premise, is it sitting on the cloud, or is it sitting on a private cloud, or sitting on a multi-cloud. we have comprehensive telemetry ingestion features available, right? And all the data that is collected, we are able to analyze and apply machine learning so that we are able to process these data at a high volume and able to make sense of it. So we have various techniques for smart analytics like clustering. So we can identify what is the pattern of data that we are seeing. And instead of looking at raw logs or raw metrics, we'll give you visualizations that are based on specific sets of clusters. We also have machine learning based correlation. So we can identify different types of log data across your different data sources or different log sources and able to correlate them so that you can quickly identify what are the problems in your environment, right? Also, we are able to apply pattern recognition and anomaly detection when it comes to our SQL data and log data, and able to quickly tell customer what is normal, what is not normal, right? Apart from able to do smart analytics, we also have ability to project and predict things when it comes to looking at your capacity planning or making sure your environment is working efficiently or not. So we have products like Operation Insight that essentially understands your overall resource utilization based on the data it collects from your database environment, your host environment, or any environment, and able to provide projections, able to provide insights related to overall capacity. So all of these AI and machine learning capability we use in our products to make intelligent decisions. Apart from that, we also use AI and generative AI so that we can provide smarter day-to-day operations within our product. So we have natural language processing based chatbots available. We'll show a demo of that. Various chatbots and various generative AI capabilities are being built in our products today. Some of these are related to building your dashboards quickly, right? Just writing a natural language statement, as well as we are also building chatbots so that you can interact with our products. For example, you can write a plain English statement and we will convert that into a query that would be applied to our full stack observability data. Right? Also, we have intelligent digital assistants available, so that helps you quickly understand how to use our product. So we use that to apply to across all our product documentation, all our troubleshooting guides, as well as within the product. So you can intelligently use natural machine language based chatbot to get quick answers related to the product usability and operations. When it comes to data ingestion, as I mentioned, we can ingest data anywhere. We have very broad set of data ingestion capabilities. Within OCI, all our instrumentations are built into our product today, right? OCI compute images carry our micro agents so that we can ingest data automatically. All the PaaS services as well as OCI infrastructure services are already coded in to send logs and metrics to customers' tenancy so that these can automatically be used for observability and management purposes. We also have instrumentation available so that it can be embedded or instrumented for application level performance, right? So in essence, all the way from storage, network to the browser, we have instrumentation and data ingest capabilities available so that you can not only monitor at metric level or log level or SQL level, but also at the browser level. And all of these data are collected in a single unified platform. So we can make sense of it and provide insights to the customer, ops user or administrator so that they can efficiently troubleshoot their issues. Another key capability when it comes to our ingestion is our unified agent. We have a single agent that can collect full observability data and hence reducing the footprint of customers' production workloads where agent would be running. The single agent can collect logs, it can collect metrics, it can collect data based on any customer specified protocol, it can collect logs through syslog. Also, it can collect data through REST-based interfaces, right? So this way, we are able to reduce the agent footprint when it comes to customers' environment, right? It's a completely plugin-based architecture, right? Apart from that, we also have ability to ingest data through object storage OCI functions so that any REST-based data can come. For cloud native environment like Kubernetes, we have Helm charts available based on FluentD and FluentBit. Apart from that, we have for our APM product has support for OpenTelemetry, Prometheus exporters as well, so that customers who have cloud native environment where they want to collect traces, logs, and metrics, we have full support for open and extensible collection methods. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about GenAI workloads, right? We are saying GenAI is pervasive in the market. Every vendor, every customer, every enterprise is spending tons of money to make sure that they can offer GenAI capabilities, right? These GenAI workloads deployed on a specific cloud infrastructure or deployed across cloud infrastructures. Many customers use OpenAI, many customers use AWS Bedrock, many customers use OCI Cohere, right? And these workloads are running in some cases on public cloud, in some cases completely running on bare metal, right? And these environments are really expensive. GPUs are really expensive. So making sure that your overall GenAI workloads are providing the right set of experience to the customer, as well as they are cost effective, and they are able to deliver the capabilities that you are building these GenAI applications is very essential, right? So in this regard, Oracle Observability and Management is offering sets of capabilities to monitor your overall infrastructure, right? Number one, we just want to make sure that your overall model performance and user experience is up to the mark, right? And we do that by collecting different types of data from your model layer, right? Which may be OpenAI layer, Bedrock, or your Cohere environment, right? So we have ability to ingest metrics, logs, and able to embed in your application user experience level trace-based collection, right? So that while you are running and tuning your model, we are able to look at the customer user experience, able to monitor the API response, able to monitor the token to request analysis, able to understand prompt to request analysis. All of that we will be able to monitor so that you are able to optimize and enhance your overall performance. Able to save cost for your GenAI workload so that your GenAI service is running effectively and at the cost you need. We also able to monitor your overall capacity usage, token to request analysis, right? So that all of these are running effectively, right? And we offer full stack observability dashboard based on all the data we collect, all the predictions we do, right? Using our full stack observability dashboards that user can build. We offer out of the box dashboard in these areas, and user can build their own observability dashboard for all the generative AI data workload collections that would be offered from observability and management services. Some of the areas for GenAI workload observability across different tiers, right? One of the things I just want to identify is that when it comes to workload observability, it's not only the computer infrastructure where your workloads are running. Now, you may be running your workloads in Kubernetes environment or bare metal GPU environment. Depending upon the type of workload, you might be in your tuning stage or in production stage, right? Monitoring the complete stack is really, really important, right? And hence, Oracle Observability and Management portfolio offers managing your compute infrastructure along with the complete GenAI stack, which includes your LLM providers, your vector databases, and to orchestrate all of that, whatever GenAI framework you may be using, like LangChain, right? So we are going to provide set of functionalities that holistically covers each and every area, right? Like, for example, for model, we'll analyze the overall usage and the cost, right? So that make sure that your overall response times for the requests that customers are, requesting through prompts are able to be addressed properly. We're able to analyze and troubleshoot your API request errors and latencies. Why certain responses are slow? Is it because of the vector database or the RAG issues? We are able to quickly identify that, right? We are able to identify at the trend level what is the average token per request and overall trend for your token usage and request, right? And if there are issues with that, we'll help you troubleshoot that with all of our observability and management tools that we have within traces, logs, and metric based analysis that we will do both short-term and long-term analysis, right? And then for your vector database and orchestration framework, right, we'll monitor your vector database cache efficiency and memory utilization, right? Because these are the key areas to make sure that the overall effectiveness of your vector database is being utilized so that model is able to effectively provide the right set of answers to the prompts that are provided by the user, right? And along with that, we automatically map the infrastructure which is hosting all of these environments, right? So we automatically able to understand which pods are running which components and which pods are attached to what GPUs, if you're using NVIDIA GPUs, and how the GPU performance is getting utilized. Is it underutilized? Is it rightly utilized? So in some cases, we're also able to provide some cost effectiveness by providing details about the overall utilization with respect to different GenAI services pods that are running in your overall Kubernetes environment, right? When all of your GenAI workloads are running on Oracle's next generation infrastructure, we also have ability to go further and monitor the throughputs, latencies, and lossless queues, right? Oracle offers direct mapping to the RDMA network to the pod level affinity. And in some cases, if the affinity is not able to be maintained, we will be able to identify that. So customer can able to correct that, right? Apart from that, we also have rich set of security management portfolio, right? That is ingrained within our products, right? You don't need to go and get another SIM product or XDR product when it comes to your overall GenAI workloads. Oracle OCI logging analytics offers advanced security threat management and malicious activity monitoring, right? Based on MITRE ATT&CK's framework, right? So that can be utilized to monitor your GenAI workload, right? There are various articles available related to security threats for GenAI environment, and Oracle offers completely embedded security threat monitoring as part of our overall observability monitoring, and that's one of our key value proposition, and that is something we'll offer for GenAI workloads as well. All right, so at this time, I will offer my presentation back to German so that he can continue with the presentation.
My name is Murtaza Hussain. I'm also part of product management team within Observability and Management suite of services. I'm mainly kind of looking at a couple of services from product management perspective, namely and database management service. So let's dig deep into this presentation. Okay, so as Zubair kind of touched upon and is towards the end of his presentation, we do have applications that we are building within the observability and management portfolio, which are kind of looking at the monitoring aspects of the AI infrastructure that is running within Oracle Cloud, right? So you are basically looking at how we can better discover some of this AI infrastructure components and kind of look at the overall health across the fleet of the AI workload, right? So what we are envisioning is to make sure that we can give the near-term status and the health status of the infrastructure components, such as the host, CPU, GPU, memory, and storage utilization. We will let the users look at some of the important aspects of how some of these things are being allocated and utilized, right, by the GPU and the workload, right, when you're running it on this expensive infrastructure, right. It will help you identify some of the GPUs which are nearing slowdown or shutdown, or having some thermal or temperature issue when the workload is running. So this is kind of what we are envisioning. We will provide some of the metadata around the GPU or the host that is running, how they are kind of actively being used. It will also allow users to kind of set some of the alarms around the critical and the warning errors, and provide some of the key metrics around the dashboard, around the utilization for the memory, CPU, and all that, right? Users will also be able to identify some of the under and overutilized GPUs, right, across your workload. They'll also be able to correlate the AI workload processes across this infrastructure and see if that is causing any issues around their workload. More so, within this near-term monitoring application experience, we are also thinking around the whole concept of AI island, AI workload island. So that is basically a set of GPUs clubbed together and the running across a specific AI workload, right? In that regard, the users will be able to very quickly identify, how many GPUs are total there that are running across this HPC high performance compute island, and how many of those GPUs are being used, and what are the activity levels from a GPU or memory perspective, right? And the user will be able to very quickly identify, some of the anomalies or the hotspots or problem statement across this cluster. Now, switching gear, we also have what we envision is the long-term perspective of looking at the AI infrastructure and the load around that, right? So this will let you kind of look at the long-term view and gauge and predict some of the future consumptions of GPU cluster, looking at CPU, GPUs, associated memory, storage, and thermal implications of that. In this case, you will not only just look at the historical perspective from a long-term perspective, right? So for example, you will be able to save data up to like 2 years, and if not more, from the historical perspective, and then utilize that data using some of the advanced forecasting capabilities built in within this application to predict the future consumption needs, right? So you will be able to answer some of the questions around capacity planning. You will be able to answer some of the questions around, how your jobs are running, for example, right? So how's your training job or your inference job is running within your organization? You will be able to answer questions around how much is the cost to run a certain job, training job or inference job within your workload. You will be able to look at some of the underutilized and overall utilized resources. For example, if it's an underutilized resource, you'll be able to see how you can potentially save some of the GPU resources, which are very expensive, right? So it will help you from a cost saving perspective, right? And also kind of help you in looking at, if you want to learn any specific workload in a specific time, what is the best resource and the time to kind of schedule that job in the future. All right. Switching gears, this is something which both Herman and Zubair touched upon. We are building this whole concept of a natural language to a dashboard creation. So what it entails is a user will be able to very quickly come up with any question they want to kind of look at across their workload and the resources, right? So this is essentially the use case of where we are utilizing basically the generative AI, the LLM, into our observability and management services, right? So the question can be very much can be like, why is my database slow, or how I can improve my performance, right? And I will show you a demo, what we are envisioning and how we are building this, right? So it will, if you spit out this kind of question in a natural language format, the idea is to come up with a very specific answer around that question and give you basically details around what you need to look at and what are some of the things, metrics and underlying infrastructure you know to look at from that perspective, right? Some of the benefits of this is like, you don't need to be an expert for example, in databases on host or any process related stuff or any other infrastructure or the resource we are monitoring, right? You can ask a very simple question and that will lead you into a very geared towards answers in a dashboard format, right? And this can happen within few clicks, right, of the question being asked to specific sets of widgets, and those can be integrated into a full-blown dashboard that can be utilized and saved for your future use cases. Okay, now let's look at this demo in action. So essentially, we're looking at a dynamic dashboard creation by natural language input. Okay, so this is what we are envisioning. Essentially, we are within an observability management service right now on the background, that what you can see. On the top, we have this whole concept of, and think of it as a GenAI agent, which is known as Ask Oracle. Customer or user can come in and ask questions around, for example, why my database is slow, right? So when it types over there, a window pops up on the right-hand side on that agent. And then it's also kind of, once you ask that question, then it kind of converts into a set of options for the user, right? So in this case, when I ask this question, why my database is slow, and these options are in terms of the inherent dashboard framework which we're using within observability management, right? So the answer over here is like about 6 related widgets that are basically the GenAI services kind of spitting out and kind of giving you recommendation in terms of utilizing it and trying to get answer for why the database is slow, right? So once you click on that, see 6 related widgets, it converts into a full-blown set of widgets on the right-hand side, right? So I basically clicked on this, and then it spits out these relevant widgets pertaining to the question I asked, right, initially. These are widgets not necessarily across one service within observability management. The beauty of this is that it will curate and in the background, run a SQL across relevant widgets which are necessary to answer this question. In this case, it has come up with these set of widgets. Now, what else you can do? So what else you can do is you can also improvise this widget creation and dashboard experience by asking incremental questions on top of that. Now, before we do that, there is another capability within this where you can also pin some of these widgets which you like based on your initial question. So if you click on this pin, then this widget will be pinned and will be saved for future uses, right? So for example, if we ask another question, which is another incremental question, show me databases failures as of yesterday. Now the GenAI service has spit out another 4 related widgets across 2 O&M services, right? And as we can see, and as I said, the pinned widget is still there on the top, which is from our initial inquiry, from a question. And the remaining 4 widgets have been added incrementally into this experience. So all in all, we are basically going through this cycle of improvising our set of widgets and trying to make sure that we fine tune it to a level that we want to see as part of our dashboard. Okay, and next, we also have this capability of basically once you are set with this set of widgets and you like this dashboard in this current format, you can also save this, right? So we have this capability. If I go back, we have this capability of clicking this save button that lets you basically type in the dashboard name and the compartment where you want to save this dashboard and any description around this dashboard. You can do that and save this dashboard. and utilize this for your future uses within observability and management services. So you can see over here on the top, the dashboard XYZ has been saved in this case. All right. At this point, I will hand it over to Herman.
Okay, so that was awesome, Murtaza. It was great. Kind of a bit of mind blowing, I would say, because once we move, several services like this one to include these capabilities, I think that things are going to look awesome in terms of making things easier for our customers. So thank you for that. I think we're really looking forward to try that out. All right. So let's take a look at one of the. Let me see if my video is on. I think it's not. 1 second. Okay. There you go. So let's take a look at another way in which we're using GenAI, with this a little bit more high level, but I think that's still super interesting. I'm not sure if you had the chance to attend some of our webinars related to Select AI. We've been doing a lot of them. For example, Marty Gubar has been doing a lot of great webinars related to this. So for those of you that are not familiar, I wanted to show you how you can leverage GenAI at the high level on a specific service, which is autonomous database. Okay, so maybe first of all, maybe some of you are already familiar with autonomous database, but for those of you that are not familiar, we have this great database service that runs in OCI, which is basically self-driving, self-tuning. It is using a lot of AI and machine learning to actually make things easier for you. So it's basically a database service that maintains all the great features of the Oracle database, but allows you to sit at ease, with some of the maintenance and automated things that are being done by the service that you don't have to worry about. Okay, so it's a fully managed service, to put it somewhere. So within autonomous database, right now you can use this Select AI feature, these Select AI capabilities, and the idea is that we wanted to give you the answers that you're looking for from the database, but using your language, using natural language. You don't need to understand where the data is coming from, where the data is stored. You just ask the question and you get the results back. Okay, so this is an example. We created this chat ADV, which if you go to this blog here, you can learn all about it. You can basically reproduce it and run it by yourself. It is using a sample application which is called Movie Stream, and it's basically like a kind of Netflix, if you want, where you have movies, the types of the number of times that people have streamed a specific movie, the actors, directors, etc., etc. So we're using this as the underlying, database to show you the Select AI feature. And in this case, in the graphic, you can see that we're asking a question: what are our total streams for each Tom Hanks movie this month? And you will be surprised to, if you're not familiar with this technology, that there's no underlying application that you have to create to translate this natural language query into a SQL query, but this is what Select AI is doing for you. Okay, so this application specifically is using a low-code application built with Apex, and is using the Select AI feature that it's already embedded in autonomous database. So if you get autonomous database, you already automatically get Select AI. Okay. All right, so why we think this could be useful? So suppose that you are on the run and you are running this Apex application in your phone, that the screen size adapts perfectly to phone applications, and you're on the run and you want to interact with your database and you want to create like a complex SQL query. You don't have the ability to try, different select statements, etc., in your phone, right? Which is super uncomfortable. So you might want to just have a prompt. You ask the question and you get the results back straight from the database, right? So this is something that you can run today, right now. If you follow the live lab that I showed you before, you will be able to just recreate this. And obviously, you can recreate it with your own databases. It doesn't have to be this specific data, but it can be your own data, all right? So when you develop apps with Select AI, things become simpler because it is designed to so that you can easily build generative AI capabilities into your new or existing applications. It is future enabled, and why we're saying this, it is future enabled because you can choose from an array of large language model. You can say, hey, I want to use Cohere, or I want to use OCI generative AI. So as these models get better, and the model you're using gets better, you start getting better and better results, and you have to do anything. Basically, you still connect to a specific service, and that model gets improved, and you get all the improvements. So it's also secure because when you're using Select AI, you're using all the underlying database security of the autonomous database. Okay, so the fact that you are adding GenAI layer might maybe get you worried because you're connecting to another service, but you can always decide to use OCI generative AI, which is the service within OCI. And if you want, you can stay within OCI. If you don't want to do that, you can go to Azure, you can go to maybe OpenAI model, etc. Up to you. So we give you that flexibility. All right, so let's keep going. So let's consider this question, okay? What are our total streams? And we're talking about this movie stream scenario, right? Where you have, a lot of movies, how many times people have streamed specific movies, you have the actors, etc. What are our total streams for each Tom Hanks movie this month, right? So suppose you have to create this SQL query. It will take you some time, right? You will be doing a lot of tests. You will be trying out. You will be trying to find out exactly, the fields that you have to, or the column names that you have to use to create this query. You will have to figure out the joins, etc., etc. So we're talking about the total number of movie views with the total number of streams, obviously. When we say for each, you will have to break up the views by movie, right? Because you want to group by movie. When we're saying Tom Hanks, you will have to go and fetch specific information within a table that has the actor names, for example. And when we say this month, you will have to have an understanding of time and basically confine the query to this specific month, right? So it's not an easy query. And if you think about it, you will end up with something like this. And you can see that we are doing a count on the number of views to get the total streams. Then when we are joining with the actors table to basically get movies by Tom Hanks, we are adding the time dimension when it comes to the month. We are doing a group by title to accommodate that for each. So Select AI is taking care of all of this for you. So basically, Select AI is figuring this out for you, and it's generating this query. Okay. So how does it work? So basically, instead of doing select, maybe star and start adding, the different column names, etc., you just do select AI, right? And you just pass the natural language query, which is basically what are our top 10 stream movies, for example, that were released after 2010. And that's how this will not give an error, because if you think about running this, straight into any SQL developer web, basically text prompt, etc., you will run into errors, right? But when you enable Select AI, this will not result in an error. And the good thing is that the generated SQL, you can decide whether you want the results of that SQL. Basically, that SQL you can run that SQL and get the results, or you can basically get the SQL. So this is very interesting, because if you want to enable applications where you want the actual SQL text or SQL query for a specific prompt, you can actually get the SQL, and then you can decide what you want to do with it. You might want to run it somewhere else. You might want to offer the SQL to the user, or you might want to do, something related to analysis of that SQL. Okay, so both things are possible. Get the results or get the SQL. Okay, so how does it work in terms of configuration? Is this difficult to configure? You start by creating an AI profile, okay? And in that profile, you choose the LLM that you want to use. You can choose for, you can decide to use Cohere, OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, or OCI generative AI, okay? So in that profile, you decide which LLM to use, and then you pass information about tables and views that you want that they participate in, the SQL generation. And this is a very important step, because if you just decide to add all your tables and pass that to the profile, you're basically making it more difficult for the model to come up with the right SQL statement, right? So my advice is that when you pass, the tables, et cetera, that you want to make available to the LLM service, you pass the ones that you really need, right, to generate the SQL. If there's a table that will not ever participate in a SQL that you're interested in, don't pass it, right? And also know that you can augment the information provided to the LLM if you provide extra columns in your tables, like maybe comments, et cetera, because you might have tables that are not super, how can I put it? Maybe they are not super straightforward in terms of what the table is about. You may have a strange name, to put it some way. So you can always try to augment that information. So you can say, for example, oh, this table has actual finance records, to put it some way. And if you provide that information in metadata in the table, then the Select AI will be able to actually use that. Okay. All right. So once you have the profile, which is the first step here, we can produce a prompt. We can process a prompt, sorry. So you need to say Select AI and ask a question, right? That's the prompt. That is sent to the LLM. And in this example, we can say, find the top 3 customer segments for George Clooney movies, for example. The LLM will generate the SQL for you. So the query, the natural language query is passed to an LLM. The LLM is pluggable. You can decide which one to use. And the LLM comes back with the SQL. And depending on what you decided to do, you get the query results back, or you get the SQL that you can send to an app, or you can decide to do something else with the actual SQL. All right. So what are the good things and the bad things for this? So the results from the GenAI can be very, very good. Sometimes can be bad too, but in general, they are working. And you can create content. You can create messages that are customized to specific customers. Maybe your customers interact with the database, or want to interact with the database in specific ways. Maybe they are more business related, and that will be understood by the LLM. And you can also capture attention using personalized messages. These are great use cases. And what are the downsides? That the LLM is frozen in time. Basically, when you train an LLM, and maybe you are already familiar with using some of them, they are basically trained up to a point, right, in time. And that's what they know. Basically, they know up to a point in time, and they are frozen there. And in general, they don't know your company's private data for obvious reasons. You might want to expose some things to the LLM, maybe some tables in the profile to the LLM. Some other data, it's more private. So obviously, the LLM will not be aware of your private data. Okay, so I'm basically done with this. I don't want to show a demo because we have several demos showing how Select AI works. If you want, let me just go back a little bit. if you want to run a demo, just go to this link here that says, the blog links, Autonomous Database Speaks Human. It will walk you through step by step on how to configure one of these profiles that I mentioned. And you will be up and running in no time. It's super, super easy to basically configure Select AI. And you might be asking this question, like, okay, is this free? How do I have to pay money? Something like that. So Select AI is part of the DMS Cloud AI package. It comes with Autonomous Database. It doesn't have an extra cost added to it. But of course, if you're using an LLM that, for example, suppose you're using an OpenAI LLM, you will have to pay for the LLM tokens, right? Okay, so basically the cost is what you pay for the LLM, all right? So let me go back to the final slide, and let's consider the big picture, what we just covered. Select AI, also the observability and management GenAI-based services. And I wanted to tell you this. AI at Oracle is something really big right now. We're working on multiple services. Right now, it is the simplest way to interact with OCI services. So you will see more and more services incorporating GenAI technology to make interactions easier, but also the ability for you to run, GenAI workloads themselves. If you want to run your workloads to basically train models, et cetera, that's also has really great support within OCI today, and also building AI into your apps, because you might want to create, for example, a service that allows you to pass a prompt and get you the results that you're looking for. And this is what I just showed you with GenAI. So basically, this is also enhancing your applications with artificial intelligence. So right now, you might think, okay, everybody's talking about GenAI, and maybe this is a hype. Everybody's saying, hey, GenAI. So this is not a hype, because it's one of the most pervasive, technologies that I've seen in the last couple of decades. And what this means is that you can combine GenAI in multiple services and applications, and you can make things work together by using GenAI in multiple services, and this makes things better and better. So basically, it's the best return on investment right now. If you want to put efforts, every penny that you put in GenAI, it basically will pay you back, right? And if you consider, for example, what Subair was showing, where they are using a lot of AI-based functionalities to train and to help you train GenAI within OCI, you will see that this has great synergies, and it basically, it's like a virtuous cycle. We're using GenAI to train or to optimize GenAI workloads, right? So these things start helping each other, and you get something better and better. So I think that my advice would be that if you should definitely take a closer look at GenAI and try to leverage it where it makes sense, right? And when it makes sense to your use case. So that's it for me. I just want to end with some links for using Autonomous Database and using Select AI. This is the first QR is the live lab that I wanted to share with you. You should definitely go through it. If you want to try out some other Autonomous Database services, you can take a closer look here.
If you like today's session, we'll love to invite you back to check out our other upcoming events. Also like to hear your feedback and what topic you'd like us to cover in the future. Have a good day and hope to see you soon.